morning. Ooh. Everybody's waiting for you to come sit down.
We're back going. So we're back in open meeting at 6:30. So item 4 is discuss and vote offer city secretary position to the selected applicant. Rachel, we're offering you the job. That's what we talked about. Okay. All in it.
You too.
Make a motion to,
I'll make a motion.
any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I don't get to vote. So we got
I'm not gonna say anything since I missed it.
You're here for this part.
I bet I missed everything else. If I don't say anything, that's an aye anyway, so.
So congratulations, Rachel.
Welcome aboard.
So I may not have this listed right. So we talked about Ernest during our closed meeting, which we're allowed to do, on personnel issues. And so here's what we talked about.
This is because Ernest wants it in the opening.
Because of whatever Ernest said we had. He requested it to be an open meeting. So here's what we discussed, is Ron and I, there was an incident, that's the word I'm looking for. Incident at the school where a citizen, I'm still in encore mode with a customer, where a citizen made a complaint against Ernest. And so he called me, I told him to put it in writing, and so he put it in writing. And so we had a sit-down meeting with Ernest, and I just wrote this out on the day and day after that we did this, and just said treatment towards citizen during the encounter at the school, during early school release. Summary conclusion, asked Ernest to tell his side of the story. He stated and confirmed that he did say to the citizen, "What part of one way don't you understand?" Ron Franks told Ernest he needed to watch how he presents himself to the public. Ernest said, "Okay." I was present, Ron and Ernest was there. On a side, while we were here, and I took the opportunity to discuss other issues we had with Ernest. Mayor said he had been meaning to have a meeting to address other issues, and since we're here, we were going to talk about them now. So, and the main thing or some of the points were Ernest not making a weekly schedule. I would say something, Mayor would say something, and Ernest might turn one in. Action taken was that the mayor is now making the schedule. Next topic was Ernest not mixing up the work schedule, no weekends, no early mornings, no late nights. Also, Ernest was told in meeting on 8/1 in August, another time that we had a sit-down meeting, that he spends too much time in the office. Mayor said that has not changed, too much time in the office, and had Ernest sign it, signed and dated. So this was for documentation purposes. I put it on the agenda for documentation that we've had these meetings. So,
And what we do with the personnel is we have a progressive discipline action. So we want to bring him in, talk to him, let him be aware of what's going on. And that's, you've done that before. Anytime we have any public complaint, then we need to address that too. So we do have steps for the disciplinary action, so just make him aware.
Where's I want to see the written complaint. Did the guy come in and write it out the day that they had it?
he called me, I told him I needed it in writing.
Yeah, it's gotta be in writing, it can't be verbal. We don't accept verbal.
got it in the email.
Yeah, we got complaint forms for that,
Okay.
cause I mean, I don't,
Well,
that's.
if it was anybody else in the world,
It don't matter who it
I know,
was,
it doesn't,
it doesn't for me.
it doesn't. It doesn't. Okay,
But would you,
If he came up and said that to me, I'd admit, I mean, I'd have to accept it if I'm going the wrong way. Going the wrong way
it's
street.
the way you approach people and the way you present yourself.
Usually when I get stopped by cops, not all of them,
As a public servant, you
there's a
need to
lot
go
of
out
them I
there,
do
that's,
get talked to
that's the
bad.
problem with so many police officers nowadays, the way you.
But would this be a big issue if it was somebody else besides who it was?
no,
I don't care who it is. If you don't present yourself right,
Well,
he represents the city of Frost. To me,
that's true, but I understand why it's a big deal.
why is it a big deal?
Because of who it was. If
I
it
don't
would have
know.
been,
I don't know.
if it would have
the guy.
been somebody, anybody, say if it had been somebody
Well,
that doesn't,
I said those words, but that's not true.
I don't think it has anything to do with it. What does that sign say up there?
one way.
What does it say? What does the time say on it?
Doesn't have pictures of it.
It does
Time on
too.
It does have
It
time.
does say, I've got pictures too.
Yeah.
But
On the other streets coming in,
It was an
if he
early,
came off in other streets,
You're not
it
supposed
says
to.
one way. The other time it has time stated on it. Cause I went around and drove to every one of those signs and it's got times. And he was within his rights as far as the signs and the times go. But that has nothing to do with it. It's the way you present yourself to people. And that's not the first complaint.
right.
So all
Everybody's-
we're trying to do is bring you in,
but
address what concerns we have, and let you know, so you don't do it again. That's all this discipline was.
everybody that's said anything, complained whatsoever, has always been someone that's received a ticket for breaking the law.
There's no phone to get your hand
It wasn't-
in the jar.
It wasn't somebody that I wrote a ticket to that didn't give me attitude at the beginning. It was someone gave me attitude at the beginning, I give it right back. I'm not gonna stand there and get abused. The guy,
Where is your body cam?
the city hasn't bought one. I have body mic, but I don't have
Did
body
you get,
cam.
did you get threatened? Over there?
Over what?
Over that situation with the one way?
Yeah, well, according to the mayor, I did. He said he almost got out of the truck one whooped me.
He didn't threaten you.
No, no, but he put the threat out there.
not at the time.
That
No,
wasn't real smart though.
Well,
No, he
it's still a
didn't,
terroristic threat.
he didn't threaten you in any way.
No,
but you know, from our
he
meeting,
didn't say he wanted to get out of the truck and whoop me.
from our meeting,
In his
That's-
little
that's
brain.
still a threat.
No, it's not. Not, he was talking to me.
The way the law's wrote, that's a threat.
Well, it wasn't to you personally.
Well, who was it to then?
He was making conversation.
but anyhow, it doesn't matter. We brought you in and addressed it.
But it wasn't a formal complaint. And now there's something in writing that's not, that has.
We have the
nothing-
right to bring you in anytime and.
Yeah, you do.
What
You
did
have the
we-
right to
did
bring
we
me in
accuse
anytime.
you? Did we accuse you of doing something?
You asked me about it, yeah, and I was honest with you.
So, did we accuse you of doing wrong?
Yeah,
All
you
we
told me-
said, and you play back your recording that you had, there was nothing said. All we said was you need to present yourself to people, in a professional manner.
And I do.
We didn't discipline you, we didn't
That's what the
say no
law says.
pay or cut.
Written
but-
documentation is a discipline.
It is a form, it's a form of
But
discipline.
you just said you didn't discipline me. But
We
written
didn't give
documentation
you
is a
any
discipline.
disciplinary actions that affect
Well,
you.
it's in writing, so where's it gonna go?
It goes in your file.
How can it go in my file if there's not a formal complaint?
There is a form of complaint.
According to the law, this is the law. I printed it out and I highlighted. The way the law writes is that's how it's supposed to be complained.
Okay,
It has to be in writing by the complainant and signed by him.
okay.
And
Is
then
it
there
not
has to,
signed?
then there has to be an investigation.
No, it was in.
Who's gonna investigate?
DA's office or the mayor.
Well,
What the mayor did then. That was what y'all
What would
discussion
have
was.
settled the whole thing though is if he would've came up here and got a written form and filled out the complaint. That's what they done in the past. We ought to do it in the past. That's the proper way to do it. You don't do it through hearsay or an email.
An email can be a complaint. You can write
We're
complaints.
not taking
talk.
we're
I know,
not
I'm
taking
just saying.
comments
You can't
from-
talk.
I know,
we're not
I'm just
taking
saying.
Comments from the
No.
panel.
I understand where you're going, Stephen, but all we're asking you to do is be professional,
I am professional.
okay?
I
To
am,
me, that was not a professional comment. What don't you understand about one way? That's kind of smart ass to me,
he was the only card on the wrong way on the one way.
but it wasn't in the wrong.
Okay, well, he didn't get a ticket.
How many cars was up there at that time?
The whole school was let out early.
What was the
Ernest was
difference?
not asked to come down there. Officer Caloy said he wants to separate all ties. He doesn't want Ernest up there in his business. He didn't need help, and Ernest went down there.
Can't do that.
But I don't want you to think we're trying, because when we had that meeting, you insinuated that people are after you.
Yeah.
We're not after you. We're trying to run things.
I've got council members texting me wanting to know what am I doing in Blooming Grove. I wasn't in Blooming Grove, it was a car.
Is it these council members?
It's one of them.
Okay.
Where was you at?
I was here in the office.
No, you're right. You was on the side of the road on the median. I was
That's because
questioning,
we're
I was
working on it.
questioning if it was you.
No, not that day, it wasn't me. The day you texted me, it wasn't me in the car, I didn't even have the car.
You're right. You responded that you were up here.
Yeah.
So I said it was a Frost school car. I just happened to drive by.
You didn't respond and say it was a cross school car, you said.
I
okay.
did. Don't, you know what, dude? Don't throw me into this. I'm gonna tell you right now.
I think we're
This is
going
the
far
discussion
enough.
that you need with them. I'll vote whatever I need to vote with, but don't start
You,
throwing
you
me.
question everything I do also,
You damn right I do.
but you
It's
don't
my
come to
job
me with it.
to.
You don't come to me with it.
I've come with you enough.
You come to me once.
I've come to you and I've set you back here in your office back here and talked to you myself, and you still haven't
That
done
was
anything that we
one
requested.
time. You haven't come to me
It
since.
doesn't matter how
Okay.
many times.
Guys, let's
I make a motion that we
move to the next item.
move to the next item. Unless you have anything you want to say.
Not alone.
Okay.
I'm trying.
Okay, mayor's report. Okay. The CDBG grant, at the sewer plant, we're still moving forward with the paperwork and filling out everything to finalize the grant. The Navarre Mills project, they surveyed the new tank area, and construction will start as soon as weather permits and they get all their material ordered and all that stuff. We had a meeting on January 17th with project management about Texas Water Board loan to try to get a loan for the deficit that we possibly have by not, all our COVID funds not paying for it. And, out of that meeting, we found out that the reason we were trying to get the loan was because it had a forgiveness portion in the loan, to where we thought they, as time went on, they might just say, we might get a portion of that forgiven. And as it's turned out, according to, they based the forgiveness, part of that based on the average, salary, annual salary of our citizens. So they have, whatever the people put in on the census, all that was recorded, and we make too much money to be forgiven. So, there's no loan forgiveness, so we can't go that route. Also, we've hired a new city employee to help Ben and Mark. We have put that in the budget. The young man's name is Chad Hicks. If you get a chance to see him around town, he's doing a good job. He can operate the backhoe, and Mark's taking care of it. He's on we haven't hired him as a full-time employee until he clears his probation period with us. And so that's how we did that, is we did a 2-month probation. If we like him and he likes us, then we'll make him a regular employee. And the last thing on my deal, I was, the convenience store folks contacted me, and they're supposed to have a set of plans in here, this week to give to our inspector, and, maybe they can start construction sometime soon. So, That is the mayor's report. So if you wanna
Can I,
look at,
can I ask a quick question?
No, you cannot talk.
Is there gonna be an environmental study on that?
it'll be everything.
Why are we allowing citizens to talk outside the board? Good question.
Financials? Is there any question about the financials? Tiffany had the flu right before we made these. So Tiffany and Penny worked together over the phone, whatever. We did the best we could.
Everything will be brought current in the next coming days that I haven't had a chance to do. Hopefully be made right.
Question for you on the, I guess the 2 tires we needed for the front end that we had rebuilt. It cost us $510 for tires, and then cost us another $100 for mounting and balancing and alignment. I guess what does that matter? And then $25 for a piece for balancing.
We also did we had to do a whole front end alignment also.
That's different. It shows $110 for the alignment, then $50 for 2 tires to have mounted. That's $25 a piece, and then $25 a piece for balancing.
Usually when you buy the tires, they round them and.
Thank you. That's $100. I mean, that's $100 right there that I don't understand why we pay for one tire.
I've got a receipt.
That's what I'm getting. That's $510. I mean, that's $255 a tire, and then another $100 or $50 a tire.
Is there another place we use other than them? That's the only place I know of that we use.
I'm just the only thing I'm bringing up is like I'm like Ron. It's usually when you buy a brand new tire, it's all done. I don't want to say for free.
Right.
But the side, putting it on the car, it's usually figured in on the price of the tire itself.
I can start doing some research, if some places will do.
I mean, I don't know if there ain't nobody else closer.
I mean,
I
sure
mean,
there's
unless you go to Varner's, so that's out of the county, so I don't wanna take our money to out of the county either.
there's a guy in Ennis that does law enforcement tires for Ennis
Well,
PD and Forest County.
I don't care who does them, I was just curious of the extra $100 on top of the cost of
I
the
agree
tires.
with you.
Tires are tires, I mean, they're expensive.
Yeah,
I'm just,
and then we use specials with that. We're using pursuit tires.
Okay. And we'll add the water report when we get it. Okay, any other questions on the financials? Okay, we'll add the police report.
There's 12 citations, 15 warnings. Like I said, I try to keep the ratio about 50-50. Had to assist the county in trying to serve a warrant. I assisted with one EMS call that would be on our council member's husband. Had one call out in the middle of the night. Didn't have to be anything. Or they would have to solve it over the phone. As far as I know, Mark and them took one dog to the shelter, and then I don't know if they went down and picked that dog up or not. With the car being down for 2 weeks, there's just wasn't a whole lot going on. I do have a CPS investigation I'm working on, and I have a internal investigation I'm working on some other things happening in town. Code enforcement stuff, I brought to the mayor's attention about dilapidated houses and stuff in town, and what we can do to get around that. I've spoken with the mayor, so work on that. That's gonna be a big project. It's gonna take us a little bit to actually start hammering on it, but I think once we get all of our ducks in a row, we can do it all at once and go from there. Cause we got quite a few dilapidated houses, we don't even know where the owners are. I've heard stories of one of them is in prison, one lives out of state, so the city we can demolish these houses and put a lien on the property for that bill. At least we won't have these dilapidated houses in town, we'd have a clean, cleared out lot. So some of these would be expensive for the city to demolish, like the one by the school, that's a completed Vestas house, so. We'll we're gonna do it, we gotta do it all, we can just pick and choose which ones we wanna do, so. But I'll come up with a proposal as to how everything will run out, and we'll just go from there. But it'll be a big project, it'll be a couple months down the road.
What about the abandoned vehicles, the junk vehicles?
Abandoned vehicles, I'm kinda lighting up on, I'm trying to get a hold of the gentleman that owns the mechanic shop here in town, cause we've got cars out in the street, on the curb. And last I heard, he spends full time taking care of his elderly wife, or sickly wife.
Yeah.
So he's kinda shut his doors. I see him every once in a blue moon at the shop, and if I can catch him at the shop, sit and talk with him, so we can at least move him out to the back, and clean that up a little bit. I've actually had a citizen drive up to him on a window and complain about it. You're gonna hit this one, why not that one?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I can't pick and choose, so I gotta, if I'm gonna hit one, I gotta hit them all. The Pyburn's house, I'm working on some stuff with that, been contacting other cities about their house being burned and all the stuff that's still out front. Trying to figure that out, so we'll make sure we hit that and don't come at them sideways. Yes, ma'am?
There's one I'm curious about.
Which one?
The Ford's house down here on the corner. All
Yes.
the stuff that they're moving in. I'm sure there's a purpose.
I believe that, I guess you call it lace, is that right?
I don't know.
Lattice, yeah. I think that's what he's gonna use as his fence to block off where he's got his boat and RV parked on the side. So at least people will be able to see through it, but it's not an eyesore for the public driving by. He did come down and get a permit to put that fence up. I went up and talked to him about it when he started, and, he challenged me and told me, he's like, yeah, I don't have to have a permit, and I came down and printed him out the ordinance and showed him, yes, you do. And he came down and got one.
That was what I was curious about, cause it's right there at the intersection, so you see it coming from every way.
That other structure that he's built on his property also looks like another shed behind that little fruit stand. That's actually been there. It wasn't until I walked up on it. It was that old, I guess, shade tent. The poles are still there from the tent. He just added wood to it because the plastic blew off, dried up, and blew away. So since it's, I don't know if we can consider that a structure or not. If we can even mess with it, or do we want to? Yeah, that's all I got.
Okay, those are the consent items, we just need a motion to accept them.
Make a motion to accept.
We have a second. Any other discussion? All in favor of approving the consent items? Consent items are approved. One thing I forgot to advertise was our election. And we've got, the mayor's spot will be open, and there will be 2 council seats, open. So please tell your neighbors, and the packets are in here, so pick up a packet, Tony.
I'm voting for you.
I'm leaving town.
You're going all the way out.
For real, he's leaving town.
Mayor?
Yeah, so, I told everybody else, Tamara and I are moving, and, it's gonna take us a while to get gone, but, I'll fulfill my obligation till May, maybe. But I've committed to doing this to May no matter what, so, anyway, that'll be my obligation, and we're just trying to do that. So if there's no other further business,